And welcome back to Atreyu News. Breaking. Update on U.S. Navy ship collision, and it's bad. Look at the damage. Jeez. 7 crew members of a United States Navy ship are reportedly missing after a collision with a merchant ship. From the New York Post, 7 crew members are reportedly missing and 1 injured after a United States Navy destroyer collided early Saturday morning with a merchant ship off the coast of Japan, the country's Coast Guard reported. Footage from the Japanese TV network, the NHK, showed heavy damage to the mid-right side of the Navy ship and a person in a stretcher being lifted to a helicopter. The U.S. 7th Fleet said on its Facebook page that it is working with the Japanese Coast Guard to conduct a medical evacuation for a sailor. The fleet said the number of injuries is still being determined. Japanese Coast Guard said it received an emergency call from a Philippine-registered container ship ACX Crystal at around 2:20 a.m. that it had collided with the USS Fitzgerald southwest of Yokosuka, Japan. Coast Guard spokesman Yuichi Sugino said Coast Guard patrol ships and aircraft were headed to the scene, but said that no further details were immediately available. The Philippine ship is 29,000 tons and is 222 meters. The Coast Guard said. The Navy said that the USS Fitzgerald collided with the merchant ship 56 nautical miles southwest of Yokosuka, a city south of Tokyo that is home to a major U.S. naval base. A United States defense official said there is flooding in 3 compartments of the Fitzgerald. The 7th Fleet says the ship experienced flooding in some areas and it is heading back to Yokosuka. The fleet said the Fitzgerald has limited propulsion and the ship suffered damage on the starboard side below the waterline. The fleet said the USS Dewey, medical assistance, and 2 Navy tugs were being dispatched as quickly as possible and that naval aircraft were being readied to help. It makes you wonder how something like this could happen with all the GPS tracking and everything. Hope everybody's okay. Breaking. Cosby jury gets orders. The jurors in the Bill Cosby case have been ordered back to their hotel rooms after failing to return a verdict after 52 hours of deliberations. Bill Cosby's jurors have been sent back to their hotel rooms following yet another day of failing to return a verdict, and having now clocked over 52 hours of deliberations. After declaring they were hopelessly deadlocked Thursday, a renewed push Friday sent a rash of notes into the court, totaling 14 requests from the jury over 5 days of gridlock. Friday also brought 2 motions from mistrial from defense attorney Brian McMonagle, who called the jurors tired and weary and claimed they felt compelled to come back with either a conviction and acquittal. "We had a 36-hour trial, and this is the 52nd hour," the lawyer begged. Montgomery County Judge Stephen O'Neill questioned McMonagle's motion, reminding him the jury could be on the brink of clearing his client, but asked prosecutors if they wished to join in the motion. "Not at this time," Montgomery County DA Kevin Steele, who is prosecuting the case, said. O'Neill did not rule on the motion. Cosby, who's 79 years old, stands accused of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand inside his home. The jurist then ordered the panel to return bright and early Saturday morning to continue deliberating at 9 a.m., saying, "We'll see what tomorrow brings when tomorrow comes." It is pretty crazy that a lot of these people that I watched as a child ended up being degenerates themselves. Pretty crazy how a degenerate can push morals on the public. Cuba just delivered its response to President Trump, and it's bad. The Cuban government has responded to President Trump's decision to roll back some of the Obama-era Cuba policies. AP News reported The Cuban government responded Friday evening by rejecting what it called Trump's hostile rhetoric. Still, Cuba said it is willing to continue respectful dialogue with on topics of mutual interest. Even as Trump predicted a quick end to President Raul Castro's regime, he challenged Cuba to negotiate better agreements for Americans. Cubans and those identities lie somewhere in between. Diplomatic relations, restored only 2 years ago, will remain intact. But in a shift from Obama's approach, Trump said trade and other penalties would stay in place until a long list of prerequisites was met. America has rejected the Cuban people's oppressors, Trump said in Miami Little Havana, the cradle of Cuban-American resistance to Castro's government. Officially today, they are rejected. Declaring Obama's pact with Castro a completely one-sided deal, Trump said he was canceling it. In practice, however, many recent changes to boost ties to Cuba will stay as they are. Trump casts that as a sign in the U.S. still wanted to engage with Cuba in hopes of forging a much stronger and better path. In a statement released Friday evening on government-run websites and television, Cuban President Raul Castro's administration said Trump's speech was loaded with hostile rhetoric that recalls the times of open confrontation. The lengthy statement went on to strike a conciliatory tone, saying Cuba wants to continue negotiations with the U.S. on a variety of subjects. The last 2 years have shown that the two countries can cooperate and coexist in a civilized way, it said.